by this truck and I've been so busy with work that I haven't been able to make it into the dealership. Well, Raritan's of Monroe is actually bringing the vehicle to me. I gotta go, it looks like it's here right now, I'll call you back.
Too busy to schedule a test drive? Raritan's of Monroe will bring the test drive to you. It's part of our new concierge service. Personalized car shopping built for today's customer. It's another reason why Raritan's of Monroe is a customer service champion. Let us know what we can do for you.
When you shop at Ace Hardware in Everett and Lake Stevens, we'll help you find what you're looking for and offer friendly advice too. Owners Greg and Christine are all about serving their customers and their community. They support local high school sports and many other community organizations and events. So the next time you need help with your to-do list or project around the house, bring it to Ace. They'll greet you at the door and help you find whatever you need fast. Show your support for locally owned businesses. Shop Ace Hardware just off Highway 9 in Lake Stevens and Everett Greenway in Everett. Ace is the place for the helpful hardware folks.
And we are at the Glacier Peak High School Gymnasium tonight for a Western Conference 4A boys basketball matchup between the Mount Vernon Bulldogs and the Glacier Peak Grizzlies. Hello, everybody. Tom Lafferty along with Alex Clausius tonight here on STSPN.com. The Grizzlies and the Bulldogs. And Alex Clausius, we love a Cinderella story. And we got one in the Bulldogs.
Exactly, Tom. With Mount Vernon coming down here, it's weird. We really don't used to see them just because they're so far up north, but going 3-17 last year, but right now they're 7-5 and 4-2 in Westco play. So it's great to see them actually. This game is for second place in Westco, and of course that would be a bye if the tournament started today for that West King tournament. So it's great to see them. And the part I love about them most, they actually have no seniors on their roster, so there's so much more room for growth.
And the Glacier Peak Grizzlies, good every year. This year, really good. Maybe one notch down from the Jackson Timberwolves.
How many times have we said the names Douglas, Manis, Foreman? It feels like every single year that we come out here, those guys have been here for 6-7 years, but they know a coach or a Brian Hunter coach team is going to play great defense, and they're going to make you beat them rather than them beat themselves.
And Glacier Peak comes in 1-1 in their last two as they beat Mariner the other night on the 9th, 71-50, but then they got edged by the Jackson Timberwolves. In fact, but they made a comeback. Jackson was way up in that game, and Glacier Peak made a comeback, but then fell short by 4 points.
Of course, and then if you look at it on Wednesday, Mount Vernon lost to Jackson by 30.
Right.
So that's who knows?
So are you doing the math now?
Exactly. I know it's way above my pay grade for something like that, but you never know how good was really Jackson that night. Did Mount Vernon have kind of an off game? Was Glacier Peak really good if Jackson? So it's one of those things. It's always great to see those two teams play that are fighting for that second place. But Tom, between you and me, Jackson, that's a great team. That's a team that hopefully should win a few games in Tacoma Dome.
Well, and the interesting thing about the Jackson Timberwolves, they've been good for years, but they always had a Kingma or they always had a Todd leading the way. They got no superstars. They just distribute the ball, and they're just an even good team and tough.
Exactly. It's sometimes better to have a bunch of guys that are above average at everything so you can distribute. They have a really deep bench, and they have a lot of X factors with Liddell shooting a three. It's always great when you have a senior point guard like Ben Olsen leading the way.
We will take a look at the starters here as they introduce them here on the floor. Again, tonight's game in the Westco 4A is for a battle for sole possession of second place as we take a look at the standings coming in to this ball game with Jackson on top of the Westco 4A at 6-0 in league play. Glacier Peak at 5-1. Mount Vernon is 4-2. Mariner 4-3. We were just talking before we went on the air. Where did the Mariner Marauders come from?
It feels like they're always right around that playoff cusp spot, but hopefully they can cement that 4 seed because the top 5 teams, they're the ones that are going to go to that West King tournament new to this year.
So right now, Kamiak is on the line at 3-4 in 5th place. Monroe's a team that could turn around and suddenly, a couple of wins and you've moved up.
And they're just like this Mount Vernon team. They have really no seniors. It's led by my guy. The third, I think they have Blake Rybar, some of those football players, and so they're one of those X-factor teams that come up, take a spot away, jump right in at that last week of the season.
They are doing some presentation of flowers to moms down there, I think, so we're going to probably have a little delay before the start of this ball game. Just finishing up with the Westco 4A standings, Lake Stevens at 1-5, Cascade at 0-6 in league play, probably out of it. But from your neck of the woods, I think it's great. Now, the Western Conference and the Kingco League decided to combine and you're not playing. Well, we saw it last year. Kamiak and and Glacier Peak played 4 times.
I was going to say, I felt like we called every 4 of them, too. It's the exact same players doing the exact same thing. Carson Tuttle dropping 20-plus points, but it was always a good game, good and close game. But I love these teams, you know, Issaquah playing a Kamiak or a Jackson playing Skyline, another repeat of a playoff game from last year. It's just great to get more involvement within the entire Western, kind of that region with it's all within an hour away.
Well, and it's a risk. It's a risk for the Western Conference. It's a risk for the Kinko. You take your 2 berths and the other guy's 2 berths, put them together. Well, okay, well, let's see how things match. And you may be shut out of going to the regionals and onto the Tacoma Dome.
I think it's a risk, but it's always great to compare conferences to see how the depth of everything. That's what it comes down to. So I'm hoping that the West Co can get a couple teams in this next upcoming in a couple months.
So we will have a look at tonight's starting lineups and game action coming up. It is the Mount Vernon Bulldogs at 4-2 in league play, 7-5 overall. The Glacier Peak Grizzlies 5-1 in league play, 7-5 overall. We'll be back with more. Have tonight's starters right after this timeout.
We are all frustrated with the high cost of heating and cooling our homes. At GNS, we are completely changing the way you keep your home comfortable. Because we are Snohomish County's premier Lennox dealer, we can design a perfect system for you, one that will save you a lot of money on your utility bill. The Lennox Home Comfort System creates the ideal home environment. Enjoy innovation in every season with precise, quietly efficient Lennox heat pumps that keep your life simply perfect. Call GNS Heating, Cooling, and Electric today or visit us at gsheating.com.
Did you know that Speedway Chevrolet is part of the Lee Johnson Auto family? That means 84 years of serving you the LJ way. Need a truck? We have the perfect truck to fit your needs. Half tons, 1 ton, 2-wheel drives, and 4-wheel drives. Our finance specialists are here to help you, whether you have good credit or bad credit. We're just off Highway 522 at West Main Street in Monroe.
Lee Johnson Auto Family, the LJ way.
We welcome you back here to Glacier Peak High School as they're presenting family night here to all the seniors and their families on this. Alex seems a little early for senior night.
Yeah, I started counting down the list. I said, well, they still got next Wednesday. Maybe it's the next really Friday game. That's the way I can really think of to make sure the parents come out here and get their recognition. They're not running home from work and everything. But I love all the condolences, having the students out here, seeing this. These are big moments for these players and their families.
Well, and you mentioned it coming in. We haven't done a Friday game in a long time. It's fun. Friday nights are fun games.
Exactly. I'm all about the atmosphere, Tom. I love, the students out here getting loud, the parents over here having a good time, because these are some of the memories, you won't get back. So it's always great to make that experience as big as possible. So
we are taking a look now at the seniors, the senior class and their families getting their photo taken here. Nice moment here. 5 seniors. So Brian Hunter, this is a year he's going to have to do something with these seniors because they've done a pretty good job for Brian and the Glacier Peak Grizzlies. And so they're still going to have 5 minutes now on the clock for a re-warm-up for these two teams. So let's step aside here. They're going to put 5 minutes up on the clock. So we'll step aside and come back to have tonight's game between the Glacier Peak Grizzlies and the Mount Vernon Bulldogs right here on STSPN.com.
McDaniel's Do-It Center is located in beautiful Snohomish, Washington. Locally owned and operated for over 40 years, they are proud to provide the Snohomish Valley with exceptional hardware, tools, lawn and garden, and sporting goods products. Their commitment to delivering legendary customer service and their outstanding employees continue to make McDaniel's the best and one of the most recognized Do-It-Best centers in the nation. Stop by and experience for yourself the difference between McDaniel's and the big box stores. Discover why so many people are choosing to shop at McDaniel's.
Every year, thousands of groups depend on Adrenaline Fundraising to help reach their financial goals. Adrenaline Fundraising is about developing leaders through commitment, work ethic, and follow-through. Adrenaline has several products including gold cards, coupon books, cookie dough, donation programs, and many other options to help teams raise the funds needed for their programs. Adrenaline's new app called UpPay will help teams raise money while providing their supporters the ability to earn cash back on everyday purchases at places like Starbucks, Nike, Red Robin, and over 200 plus national retailers. Adrenaline Fundraising is this season's sponsor of the STSPN's Play of the Game Award.
At Glacier Peak High School, they've had the presentation to the seniors and their families, and so both teams back out for another warm-up period. Tom Lafferty with Alex Clausius Alex, let's talk about the RPI. It's so important.
I love it.
And now it's going to start meaning something. We're going in now. We've hit the halfway point of the regular season. So now you start to really kind of hone in on, okay, where are we going to set up? And you start with the 4A boys.
Exactly. Well, we're led. It's always great to see a Westco team out there with the 8 seed of Jackson, where they're competing with, the Unions and the Gonzaga Preps and the Federal Ways teams that have been into the tournament. It feels like they're in the championship. So it's great to see Jackson, and I know that's going to be a really big seed for them, and hopefully they can continue that the rest of the season and be up there.
Well, the number 1 team is Union. Not a bad year down there for the Union Titans. Win a state championship, and you're number 1 in football, and you're number 1 so far in 4A boys as well. Union on top.
The 80 over there sitting with 2 thumbs up going, this is going to be a great year right over there. It's not Rory, is it? Rory Rosenbaugh, AD?
Rory Rosenbaugh is the head football coach and athletic director.
Exactly, and of course, and he coached here at Glacier Peak for football too.
Right.
Back in the day.
Gonzaga Prep number 2. Federal Way number 3. Ferris is number 4 in the 4A boys. Richland 5. Skyview 6. Number 7, Mount Si. And then number 8, the Jackson Timberwolves.
Exactly. We've kind of already covered them a little bit, but they definitely have the depth and the athletes out there to compete with these teams. Just a matter of, can they get hot shooting? It's all about, that's kind of what it is now. Shooting threes. If you can get hot at the right time, that's what it's all about come tourney time.
Rounding out the top 10, then number 9 in 4A boys is Camas. Number 10 is Inglemore. Glacier Peak comes in at number 21. Couple of wins here down the stretch, and they can move into the top 20 anyway, or up into the maybe the top 10.
Exactly. I know that next game against Jackson is going to be pretty big for them. So it's going to be interesting to see, but this is a really big game here tonight just because that next Westco team is number 29 out there, and that is Mount Vernon, but right behind them is Mariner. So a lot of Westco teams right on that brink area, and so I always say to you, Tom, always worry about yourself before you worry about other teams, and if they lose in this, if you win your games, everything will pave out the way that you want it to be. You want to make sure you have that on control.
Yeah, the only thing the RPI really does is when you get to the regionals, you got to win through your district. You're seeded into your own district, and now in the 3A, talking about 3A in the Western Conference, that is by an RPI. They're using, rather than the top 7 teams or 8 teams in the Westco 3A, it's an RPI because you're adding in Squalicum and Ferndale from up north.
Oh, yeah.
So they're doing an RPI there. And the 3A boys, number 1, not bad. Must be pretty good at Union. It's pretty good at the 3A boys at Eastside Catholic.
Very good down there, too, as well. That Sammamish Plateau, man. They know what they're doing over there.
Well, okay, sort of.
Yeah.
Mount Spokane is number 2. Number 3 is Kelso. Lincoln of Tacoma is number 4. We have to go back into going Lincoln of Tacoma again because Lincoln of Seattle opens next year.
Yep.
Reopens. Rainier Beach number 5, Timberline number 6, and there are your number 7 team, the Marysville-Pilchuck Tomahawks.
When you have a top ESPN top 100 recruit and Raekwon Battle already going down to UW, I think he's number 98 right there. But that's always someone that you would like to lead your team because those are the guys always give your best players the opportunity to succeed and get out there, and they usually shine in the big time moments too.
And then to drop one more notch down, number 8, Stanwood Spartans.
I was about to say, I know they lost a lot of guys from last year. We haven't, or at least me personally, have not covered a game, but ultimately I know up there they always have teams that are solid, can shoot the 3, and great defensively.
And then number 9 is Ingram in the 3A boys. Number 10, of course, the Garfield Bulldogs. They've kind of made a comeback after some uproar going on down there with Brandon Roy and that whole mess.
Yep.
14 Arlington, so the Eagles are right there. Although they lost the other night, they'll be right there at the end.
And exactly that game in 2 weeks that you guys are going to be covering for KRKO. But number 7, number 14, 2 of the best teams in Westco 3. That's going to be a great game, and it's going to be really big if Arlington wants to make that jump into that top 10.
24 is Meadowdale, 36 is Shorecrest. Quickly, the 2A boys, Linden number 1, number 2 Pullman, number 3 Burlington Edison, North Kitsap number 4, number 5 Columbia River, and a team we saw a couple weeks ago, number 6, the Lakewood Cougars.
Small, quick, and great defensively attack the ball.
Let's take a look at the starting lineups. First for the Glacier Peak Grizzlies, they'll start Cedric Jones, a 6'4 senior, Marshall Ross, a 6'3 senior, Braden Quantrill, a 6'1 junior. They'll start as well Noah Foreman, Evan Manis, a 6'5 senior, Noah Foreman, a 6'4 senior. For the Mount Vernon Bulldogs, they'll start Kane Kress, a 6-foot junior, Isaiah Brown, a 6'1 sophomore, Chase Calvin, a 6'4 sophomore. Also, Sammy Oliver is a 6'3 junior, and Ethan Chapin, a 6'4 sophomore. So there you go. 3 sophomores and 2 juniors in the starting lineup.
Exactly.
Watch out for the Bulldogs this year, but next year big time.
Exactly, and their leading scorer, Isaiah Brown, with 17.5 points a game, only a sophomore. Really excited to see him here tonight. And I know right before the game, their second leading scorer, Van Struisma, averaging 9 a game, would not be suiting up tonight. So let's see how that pans out here during the game.
Yeah, so he's scratched. So again, Mount Vernon goes with Kane Kress, Isaiah Brown, Chase Calvin, Sammy Oliver, and Ethan Chapin. For the Glacier Peak Grizzlies, Cedric Jones Jr., Marshall Ross, Braden Quantrill, Evan Manis, and Noah Foreman. Head coach of the Glacier Peak Grizzlies is Brian Hunter, and the only coach in the history of Glacier Peak High School, and Roger Valentine is the head coach of the Mount Vernon Bulldogs in his 3rd year. We will take a break, come back with tonight's opening tip-off and game action. It's the Mount Vernon Bulldogs and the Glacier Peak Grizzlies, live from Glacier Peak High School. Back with more here at STSPN.com. Welcome back alive to Glacier Peak High School. The officials tonight, Tony Churlin, Lee Otini, and Kevin Erickson. And we're ready to go, ready for some high school boys basketball, the Western Conference 4A. The Mount Vernon Bulldogs, 4-2 in league play. Glacier Peak Grizzlies at 5-1 in league play. I'm looking forward to this one.
Exactly. Bands going, the fans are already into it on both sides, including the students as well. I really want to see who wants that second place because of the bye in the West King tournament. Also, just as those bragging rights of, hey, we're the best team, maybe a little bit below Jackson.
So Glacier Peak comes out in their white uniforms. They're the home team tonight. Mount Vernon in the dark green, the visitors. Tony Churlin has the basketball. And we're ready for basketball here on a Friday night in Cathcart. Ball goes up and controlled by Manis as Glacier Peak has it on the opening possession. Evan Manis got it, kind of flagged it down, but they'll set up the half-court offense. Top of the key, Braden Quantrill. Quantrill looks to Manis again, turns, faces up, looking down low, down to 20 seconds on the shot clock. Quantrill again, dribble drive in off the glass. Miss, up, second shot, no good by Jones. And the first foul of the game, 24 seconds into the ball game. And it's going to be called on Quantrill. Quantrill picks up his first personal and the first team foul.
That's a great stop by Mount Vernon on that first possession, really set the tone.
Mount Vernon will bring it up. Moving to our left in the green jerseys, white numbers, black trim. As they go in, it's going to be a bad pass. It was passed there by Isaiah Brown and then just ripped off by Glacier Peak, and Manis has it at the wing. He'll turn, and that's going to be blocked out of bounds. Nicely done there. Ethan Chapin got all ball, knocked it out of bounds. So with 26 on the shot clock, Glacier Peak has it in their front court. Quantrill will throw it in to Jones. They swing it around Quantrill again. Manis inside, and he puts it up. First 2 points of the ball game will be in for the Glacier Peak Grizzlies. Evan Manis inside.
I forget he's a lefty, Tom.
He's a lefty.
Always different when you have to guard a lefty.
A 2-0 lead. Glacier or Mount Vernon will try to answer, and they do on the other end. Chase Calvin with a bucket, just about a mirror from the other end, and put it in, and it's a 2-2 tie. Now Glacier Peak with it. Quantrill. Manis will play about every position. He'll go low post, high post.
The Swiss Army knife?
He's the Swiss Army knife. And there's a 3-ball good. Marshall Ross puts it up and in, and Glacier Peak gets out to a 3-point lead, 5-2. Early going here at Glacier Peak High School. Now Mount Vernon with it. Brown out between the circles. Kind of directing traffic. 15 on the shot clock now. Brown still with it. They'll swing it over to Kress. Now at the top of the key it goes. Chapin, 5-4 to shoot. Along the baseline, the reverse undercut lay-in is up and good for Kane Kress with the bucket with about 1 second to go on the shot clock, and we're going to have a foul call. On the other end, same guy. Kane Kress commits the foul. Quantrill will be sent to the line. His first team foul. 5:51 to go, opening quarter. A 5-4 lead for Glacier Peak on their home floor. And Braden Quantrill at the free throw line.
Checking in for the Bulldogs, number 4, Scotty Forbes.
Missed the first.
Tom, we always got to hit our free throws, too.
Kids, you got to hit your free throws.
Quantrill, great take to the basket, though. At least get a foul.
Forbes comes in for Mount Vernon. Missed them both. And cleared out by Mount Vernon. Going down, Kress, yes. He's got no, he doesn't have. He has most of the points. He's got 4 of the 6. And Mount Vernon takes their first lead of the ball game. Leading it here by 1, 6-5. Outside shot, Manis, your Swiss Army knife, rattles a 3-ball home. And Glacier Peak retakes the lead at 8-6.
That's a big 3 by Manis right there with that make basket. They get to go down and set up their defense because Mount Vernon's been running down and got 2 nice transition buckets.
They swing at top of the key. Chapin, he'll step back and put up an 18-footer that rattles off. Quantrill, shortest guy on the floor, gets it. Feeds it forward, going in. Ross waits for the cutter. No, not quite, as he gets hammered on the way by Chapin.
One of the things, Tom, is Quantrill, you say is the shortest guy. He's 6'1". Around this, for the shortest one, you usually have the 5'9", the 5'10" point guard, something like this. Glacier Peak is 6'1" to 6'4" throughout the entire thing, so it's a lot of versatility.
Well, Kane Kress, I guess, is 6 foot.
Exactly.
But I think that's a program 6 foot.
Exactly. The program height. I'm 6'4" for the program.
That's right. Marshall Ross hits the first free throw. A couple of new guys check in for Mount Vernon. Sammy Oliver is there to, I thought he was last to touch it, but they say Manis was the last to touch it. So a 9-6 lead. Glacier Peak Eagles their biggest lead of the ball game. We're coming up on 5 minutes to play. Opening quarter on a Friday night at Glacier Peak High School. Boy, somebody step in his way. Isaiah Brown. I said, I'll just take it myself, coast to coast.
Wow, that's impressive finish right there, too. I wanted to see what his first shot was going to look like, and he fit the bill right there with that kind of leaning, running right off the glass.
Now Manis, they're going to call an offensive foul. They're going to say, I think they're going to say Manis pushed off. It'll be Foreman, though,
I think it was an illegal screen. He gave a little bit of a shoulder / leaned into it a little bit too much.
Second team foul, first personal at 4:36 to go in the opening quarter. A 9-8 lead for Glacier Peak, and a foul is going to be called. Leotini makes that call. Ross picks up the foul. Marshall Ross, a 6'3" senior, his first personal foul. Team foul 3. Scotty Forbes at the line. Clunks the first one off the front of the iron. He'll get another opportunity to tie the ball game. Chapin in takes a place of Kress, who sits for Roger Valentine and the Mount Vernon Bulldogs. This one is perfect, and we're tied for the second time today. A 9-9 tie, 4:31 to play. Opening quarter. Braden Quantrill brings it up. Evan Manis put out the elbow.
Watch that off arm right there.
He just kind of put it up there and said, run through this, and ball goes out of bounds. And we're going to have a timeout on the floor. Brian Hunter walks halfway to Seattle Hill because they called the timeout, and we will take a break as well. 4:16 to go in the opening quarter. 9-9 the score. Back with more after this.
When you shop at Ace Hardware in Everett and Lake Stevens, we'll help you find what you're looking for and offer friendly advice too. Owners Greg and Christine are all about serving their customers and their community. They support local high school sports and many other community organizations and events. So the next time you need help with your to-do list or project around the house, bring it to Ace. They'll greet you at the door and help you find whatever you need fast. Show your support for locally owned businesses. Shop Ace Hardware just off Highway 9 in Lake Stevens and Everett Greenway in Everett. Ace is the place for the helpful hardware folks.
Here we go. After the second turnover by Glacier Peak, it's Mount Vernon basketball.
Great cut.
Nicely done, but they can't finish. A miss way underneath. And it's going to be Spencer Dutton with the miss. And Glacier Peak has it. Down low they go to the low block off the glass and in. Up and in and good by Noah Foreman. And Glacier Peak extends their lead to 2 points.
Mount Vernon, they're getting right up the floor trying to get in some instant offense right there. I want to see Isaiah Brown touch it a little bit more.
The right side, Chapin looking to back in. 19 on the shot clock. And we're going to have a travel. Second turnover by Mount Vernon. Scotty Forbes commits the turnover, and checking in is Chase Calvin along with Kane Kress for Mount Vernon. And who else is coming in? Liam Johnston is coming in.
A little bit of a hockey sub right there.
Yeah, Roger Valentine going deep on the bench here in the early going. Our statistician tonight, Tom Friel, texted me last night that this was going to be a blowout. Well, not so far. Maybe we just don't know which way it's going to be a blowout.
Exactly.
I don't think it is. This is going to be pretty evenly matched team so far in what we've seen the first half of the first quarter. Not afraid to judge a book by the cover. Manis with a drive, can't put it up high enough. Ball went out of bounds. Last touch by Mount Vernon. So with 33 on the shot clock, and checking in for Glacier Peak, Fletcher Douglas.
It's not very often when your leading scorer is coming off the bench, especially in high school. So I'm interested to see, maybe it's just a, hey, get started or want to get the jitters out, but interested to see Douglas play.
Here's a turn, spin, and a rattle home for Noah Foreman put it in. And the lead is Glacier Peaks at 4 points, their biggest lead here in the early going. Kane Kress, ball went out of bounds, last touch by Foreman. And it'll be Mount Vernon basketball under the basket. Kress will get it. Kevin Erickson, did he hit the floor? He's going to, was he injured or did he hit the floor? Because Kevin Erickson is saying, you know what, we're going to send, or did he hit the wall?
A little bit of a hitch in the giddy up.
Yeah, so Tony Cherlin is going to escort him over here to Roger Valentine. Todd, can we see that? Can we go back and see the where he may have maybe hit the.
Checking in for the Bulldogs, number 14, Isaiah Brown.
Let's see if we can go back far enough to see where. No, can't go back that far. So, but anyway.
Something to keep an eye on.
It looked pretty innocuous, but I guess it was enough for Kevin Erickson to say, you know what, let's send him out here for a little bit and have the training staff take a look. So on the inbounds here, they'll rattle off one that won't go for Chase Calvin, and Glacier Peak will clear it. Fletcher Douglas. Quantrill looking to drive in. He kind of put up the elbow there. Everybody's putting up the elbow to make themselves some space out of their personal space. Misses the lay-in badly, and the rebound controlled by the Bulldogs from Mount Vernon. 2:25 to go in the opening quarter.
Tom, Chase Calvin for Mount Vernon has really caught my eye. He's kind of a bigger, stocker guy that really can compete with these guys from Glacier Peak.
That's an interesting, interesting looking shot. Kind of a two-handed set shot from right about chin level is when that one went up.
But did it go in?
It went.
Then it's a good one.
They count. 13-12 the score. That's a travel. Cedric Jones got it, and then kind of, he didn't have a hitch in his giddy-up. His giddy-up went faster than his hitch did, so he just kind of went a little bit too fast and didn't put the ball on the deck. And he's going to have a seat next to Brian Hunter. And checking in, Braden Corwin will come in. Glacier Peak with only 7 guys on their varsity roster. They bring up guys, they've got 4 guys up from the JV, but they go with a short rotation. Backing in, turn, good defense there by Evan Manis as Oliver couldn't get a shot off. Quantrill with it, minute 40 to go, opening quarter. And they're going to say 5 seconds closely guarded. Good job there defensively. Liam Johnston was right in his hip pocket the whole time. 4th turnover by Glacier Peak.
I thought he got enough space on that last one, but I think that 5 seconds went right before he did that crossover to take a step back to create enough space for the 5 seconds. But that's always big defensively and a good momentum shift for Mount Vernon.
Where Glacier Peak goes with a short 7-man rotation, Mount Vernon, I think, has brought in 3 cheerleaders already because they have really played everybody. Another new guy in. Here's a little floater by Isaiah Brown. It's good. And Mount Vernon retakes the lead here. They've led by as much as 1, which is what it is now at 14-13. Quantrill.
And that jump shot was feathery, Tom. New vocab word of the day.
Oh, feathery. Quantrill open, and he puts it off the window and in. Quantrill was right there, and it was seen. Yeah, Corwin with it. So another lead change. Our 4th of the ball game. 22 on the shot clock now for Mount Vernon. Isaiah Brown. And they're going to call him for a travel. We've got kind of a little turnover fest here the last couple of minutes. That's their 3rd turnover off the travel. And Corwin will throw it in for Glacier Peak. 35 to shoot, 42 on the quarter clock.
If you're ever the visiting team, you want to limit turnovers as much as possible. Always tough to go into someone else's house and win.
Quantrill kicks it out. Douglas puts it up too hard. Quantrill's there. They're going to play volleyball with it a little bit. Shot clock is dead. Mount Vernon can play for 1. Maybe take the lead here at the end of the quarter. It's 15-14 now. GP. MV with it. 15 seconds to go. Down to 10 seconds to go, and a turnover. Commits a turnover, their 4th. Corwin brings it up. Bounces underneath. Mr. Douglas puts it up by 13. Long shot, won't go. We have reached the end of the first quarter of action. Interesting ball game here at Glacier Peak tonight, and the Grizzlies on their home floor lead it 17-14 over the Mount Vernon Bulldogs. Back with the second quarter right here on STSPN.com.
You know, I've been wanting to buy this truck, and I've been so busy with work that I haven't been able to make it into the dealership. Well, Rairdens of Monroe is actually bringing the vehicle to me. I gotta go. It looks like it's here right now. I'll call you back.
Too busy to schedule a test drive? Rairdens of Monroe will bring the test drive to you. It's part of our new concierge service. Personalized car shopping built for today's customer. It's another reason why Rairdens of Monroe is a customer service champion. Let us know what we can do for you.
When you shop at Ace Hardware in Everett and Lake Stevens, we'll help you find what you're looking for and offer friendly advice too. Owners Greg and Christine are all about serving their customers and their community. They support local high school sports and many other community organizations and events. So the next time you need help with your to-do list or project around the house, bring it to Ace. They'll greet you at the door and help you find whatever you need fast. Show your support for locally owned businesses. Shop Ace Hardware just off Highway 9 in Lake Stevens and Everett Greenway in Everett. Ace is the place for the helpful hardware folks.
Okay, AC, we got some even scoring so far.
Some even scoring over there for Glacier Peak. Evan Manis leading the way with 5 points right there. Noah Foreman right behind him with 4. Marshall Ross with 4 as well for the Mount Vernon Bulldogs. They're led by 2 guys who have scored 4 points, Kane Kress and Isaiah Brown.
Here we go. We get underway in the second quarter. And I think Roger Valentine was going to send 4 out. Glacier Peak's fine. We'll go on the power play. So they have sent, I guess I'm confused what's going on.
Now we're playing the game. That's all that matters.
Tony Jerlin says, let's go. Because Kevin Erickson's still over here talking with Brian Hunter. But we're going 5-on-5 here, so I guess that's good. Just underway, second quarter on a Friday night in Cathcart. Dribble drive. Brown under the scoop lay-in won't go. Quantrill brings it up. I thought Manis was going to go up with it, but he didn't. Quantrill with it. Well, it's tough defense here by Mount Vernon. They're just kind of packing it in there. Douglas, Corwin with it. And we're going to have a foul away from the basketball. And I think they're going to get Evan Manis with that. No, check it. It's going to be on the Bulldogs. Scotty Forbes, his first personal foul. He and Manis were mixing it up under there.
They still are right now. He just gave him a nice little bump going into the but great post play right there, at least to draw the foul. And then let's see how this continues because they're both looking at each other, and I think Manis wants the ball back.
I think Manis, who plays basketball like a wide receiver, by the way.
I think he's done that a few times before in his life.
Yeah. He kind of bumped a guy as they came off after the end of the quarter, too.
It's a little bit different than the turf out there at Veteran Memorial Stadium over in Snohomish.
So GP with a fresh 35 on the shot clock has it. Manis in the corner. Puts up the elbow. Clears himself some space. Puts it up. Goes to the rack and one.
Got a little vocal with Scotty Forbes after he made that shot. And actually that should have been a foul on Evan Manis with the hook as he went around and drove to the basket. He hooked him. Got a one-step advantage.
So the lead is 5 points for Glacier Peak. It's going to be Forbes with a foul, his second personal foul. 4th team. And Evan Manis will try to get the three-point play the old-fashioned way. Already the biggest lead of the game for Glacier Peak. And it increases by 1 up to 6 points now at 20-14. Mount Vernon better get busy or they'll be left in the dust. They got beat by 30 the other night by Jackson. Here's a runner that won't go. Well, one shot at it. Well, that'll work for the Bulldogs as Calvin got the steal off the rebound. And then a hand check foul is going to be called here. Leotini will make this call. They're going to get Manis. I think Leotini saw that hook foul down here that he didn't call because it was
good
in
old-fashioned
his area. So
makeup call. It was Braden Corwin on that foul too. He reached around on whoever caught the rebound.
Yeah.
Calvin.
Okay, so never mind.
Yep.
Well, they're all putting up the elbow though, on both ends. They'll bounce it in the corner. Nice pass over to Calvin. Then outside three ball that won't go. A miss by Oliver. A reload here by Calvin again. Kick it back out. Chapin puts up a shot. That three won't go. Offside board grabbed down by Corwin for Glacier Peak. Here come the Grizzlies leading by 6.
The refs leaving a little bit of physical play right there. Calvin right there gave a nice little shove, and Coach Hunter was not very happy without the call. So let's see how this continues to play out.
Going in, Douglas has the ball stripped away from him by, I'm not sure who gets the block in there. There were 4 green shirts, and there's a turnover. Mount Vernon with their second block shot of the ball game. And Brian Hunter doesn't want every elbow called because his team.
It's equally matched. So maybe they're letting the refs are letting them play a little bit.
Let them go.
Why not? They're kids. Run around and have some good times.
They'll heal. Those bruises will heal. Here's a steal. Turnover. Fletcher Douglas goes in. Fouled from behind on the way in. Ethan Chapin just kind of standing there bouncing on his feet saying, I don't think I really did, but he'll just keep his composure here. His second personal foul, 5th team foul on the Bulldogs. And so here comes Fletcher Douglas at the free throw line, the 6'4" senior for GP. Hits the first. The lead is 7 points for the Grizzlies.
Mount Vernon on this next possession, he really needs to get a good shot. You don't want to make this lead go to 10 points right there. It's just going to give Glacier Peak all the advantage. So look for a good shot, whether it's behind the arc or under the rim.
Lead is 8 for the Grizzlies. And Cedric Jones checks back in for the Glacier Peak Ball Club. And here comes Mount Vernon. Down by 8 points. And then closed off there, a little double team defensively. Mateo Tunno in, and a foul will be called. I think they're going to get Quantrill with that one. His second personal foul, and the 5th team foul. So all even up, 5 team fouls each at the 5:51 mark to go in the first half, and Marshall Ross returns. Quantrill goes to the bench for Glacier Peak. Bulldogs with it, double teamed. Somebody's got to be open. And they can't, nobody wants it. Finally, Mount Vernon says, yeah, we'll take it. And then they throw a bad pass. Bad bounce pass. He thought he was going to zig when he zagged. 6th turnover by Mount Vernon.
Oh, man. What did I just say before? You got to get a shot on each possession when you're down the floor. Make or miss, but the turnovers, that's just going to kill you and just make this lead stretch even farther.
Glacier Peak with an 8-point lead and the basketball. Noah Foreman gets it back. Waits for the defender to go by, misses it, tries to get his own rebound and went out of bounds. He was the last to touch it. So it'll be Mount Vernon ball. And Isaiah Brown returns. And Kane Crest goes to the bench for Roger Valentine. Valentine, a longtime assistant, then head coach at Skagit Valley Community College. Assistant to Dave Qualls for years and years at SVCC.
I like that. Good history for me.
There you go. As they work it, Mount Vernon with it. Isaiah Brown, 13 to shoot. Goes underneath, bad pass. Fletcher Douglas with the steal. Navigates down there and gets sent to the floor and fouled there. And that's 2 times that Ethan Chapin kind of shakes when he gets called for a foul because he doesn't think he does. And he picks up his 3rd personal foul, and he just starts walking over towards the bench.
Fouls on Bulldogs number 35, Ethan Chapin.
You can see he goes right in there, and he got him.
And he knows where he's going, to the bench. You can't have 3 fouls in that first half unless you're not going to be playing in the second half.
Douglas, first is good. The lead is 9, 23-14. Chapin to the bench, and Forbes in for Mount Vernon. And Fletcher Douglas gets another free throw. And it's good and leads out to 10 points. Yeah, Roger Valentine down coaching him up, saying, you know, you picked up 3 and, you know, this happened and that happened. We'll get him. And we've talked about it. Mount Vernon, a very young team.
Very young team, so it just oozes with potential. I want to see Isaiah Brown kind of take over this game. He averages 20 points. He's had games of 30 points, and they really need their star player to step up right now, especially being down 10.
8th turnover.
I can't even count to 8.
So that was Isaiah Brown too. So they do make young mistakes though. And I think Glacier Peak may just take him to school here. Teach him. Teachable moment, as they say. Underneath it goes. Fletcher Douglas gets pushed from behind. Scotty Forbes is going to be the guilty party. This is going to be a 1-and-1 now as they go into the 3rd personal on Forbes. And he has to sit. Not going to be anybody left. And Spencer Dutton checks in. Chapin is back in with 3 personals. Well, he coached him up, I guess. Roger Valentine did and said, well, I'm going to send you back out there. Don't get another one. Fletcher Douglas at the line.
Made both in the 1-and-1. That's big. You never want to miss the front end of a 1-and-1. Just it's almost like a turnover. But I thought that was a little bit too soon. I was like, I thought they didn't shoot yet.
No, that was the first one.
Those rascal kids down there.
Now we're going to see if they make you a liar.
Oh, yeah, they will for sure.
Quarter says he makes it. Here goes.
Oh man.
Not clean, but you know what? Counts.
Exactly.
The lead is a dozen now at 26-14. It was going to be a nice pass by Brown, but he got fouled on the way down there. It's going to be a baseline out of bounds here for Mount Vernon. It'll be Cedric Jones picks up the foul. His first personal foul. 6th team inbounds here for Mount Vernon. Chapin. Move it over to Tunno. Long cross. Boy, that's a dangerous pass. Underneath they go, off the glass and in. Nicely done there by Chase Calvin with the bucket. Nice passing there by Mount Vernon.
Yep, and that was the first 2 points of the quarter. You're not going to win many games if you're scoring 2 points halfway through that second quarter. So hopefully they can get on a little bit of a run before half.
Yeah, it was 17-14 Glacier Peak at the quarter. It's 26-16 now. Long outside 3, boy. Ouch. Marshall Ross rattles a 3-ball home, and it's out to a 13 points the lead for Glacier Peak on their home floor. Brown to the baseline, closed off to Calvin. He'll give himself some space and then puts up an air ball. And Jones grabs the rebound. Quickly up the floor. Douglas, nice ball movement, saved him from going out of bounds. Corwin to Jones. Corwin again. He'll kind of step back a little bit. They'll reset the offense. Noah Foreman. Corwin, long three, bounces it, no. And Dutton with the board. To Brown. Brown put up, that's two trips, 2 air balls for Mount Vernon. Douglas brings it down. Foreman, lay-in, good.
Got to slow it down for Mount Vernon. You got to get a good shot, or else this lead's just going to grow and grow and going to make it insurmountable.
Calvin, that's 3 trips, 3 misses. That one wasn't an air ball. He took one in the chin, too. And then Glacier Peak tries to go a little quick, and they get it down to Jones, who goes off his fingertips and out of bounds. So back over it goes to Mount Vernon. Mount Vernon 1 for 8 at the free throw line. Field goal, 1 for 8 in the quarter. And Alex, a couple of those have been bad.
Exactly, a couple of air balls, and they got to get some more shots at the hoop.
They can't go in if you don't shoot them. Here's a fadeaway. That may have been partially blocked. We'll give him, and have been a bad pass. And Fletcher Douglas can't control it. 1 for 9 in the quarter is Mount Vernon.
Dribbled right off his shoe right there, Fletcher. That's the worst, the toe monster. Rearing its head.
So here comes Mount Vernon, down by 15 points, 31-16, 2:10 to play, first half. Jones almost had a steal, carried it out of bounds. No change of possession, so 24 on the shot clock, 2:05 to go in the half. That's that. You know what? It goes in and it's good for Sammy Oliver, but that's a weird looking shot.
Great looking shot, great form, and ultimately, man, that was a huge three-pointer. Tried to cut it to single digits before half.
Corwin tried to answer. He puts up an air ball. Brown grabs the rebound for Mount Vernon. Inside 2 minutes of play. Oh, and we're going to have a travel.
The travel's actually probably better right there. Corwin's going to have an easy layup.
Yeah, Mateo, the 9th turnover, Mateo Tunno, I think, was waiting for contact, and it never really happened. It'll be GP basketball, leading by 12, minute 40 to go. In the half, ball knocked away. There by Tunno. And now checking in for Glacier Peak will be Tucker Molina. So Glacier Peak now going a little deeper on the bench here with a lead at 12. Ross to Corwin. 22 to shoot. Corwin with it, bounces it, looking for Ross, but it's going to be stolen away by Mount Vernon, then stolen right back by Evan Manis for Glacier Peak. Douglas dribbles to the down to the baseline and lays it up with the right hand and in, and it's 33-19. GP with the pretty big lead here in this second quarter. Long, dangerous, and ultimately unsuccessful cross-court pass.
Exactly.
7th turnover of the quarter.
And when Isaiah Brown's out for Mount Vernon, that's when they go to that trap and pressure defense because they know that he can handle the ball, and it's really causing havoc out there for the Mount Vernon Bulldogs.
Inside a minute to play here in the half. Fletcher Douglas wasn't expecting it. It's going to be taken away. Sammy Oliver with it. He will shoot. He will hit. I think he's got this. Was that a 2? 3. That was a 3. Does he have 3 threes? I think so. Yeah, 3 threes in the ball game.
We may have to go to the booth on that last one.
Yeah. Come to the
toe of the line. They're going to walk up here, the refs, and see the replay that Todd has for us.
Douglas, 26 seconds to go, 16 to shoot. That's Evan Manis. Molina. Somebody's open. There he is. Douglas can't hit it, though. Shot clock is dead with 15 to go in the quarter. They go left side. Down to 6, down to 5. Corner 3, it's good. Up and in. Kane Kress hits it. And you mentioned it. If you can get to halftime and it's less than double figures.
Makes the lead a little bit easier. Hey, we could probably get 8 points, and great way to end the half for Mount Vernon. 2 straight back-to-back threes and then a stop down here as well. 6-point swing.
So the score at the half, it's the Glacier Peak Grizzlies 33, the Mount Vernon Bulldogs 25. We're at halftime here at Glacier Peak High School on a Friday night right here on STSPN.com.
You know that test drive I've been trying to get to? You're not going to believe this, but Raritan's of Monroe just delivered it to my work. I gotta go.
Too busy to schedule a test drive? Raritan's of Monroe will bring the test drive to you. It's part of our new concierge service.
We are all frustrated with the high cost of heating and cooling our homes. At GNS, we are completely changing the way you keep your home comfortable. Because we are Snohomish County's premier Lennox dealer, we can design a perfect system for you, one that will save you a lot of money on your utility bill. The Lennox Home Comfort System creates the ideal home environment. Enjoy innovation in every season with precise, quietly efficient Lennox heat pumps that keep your life simply perfect. Call GNS Heating, Cooling, and Electric today or visit us at gsheating.com.
As records tumbled and enemies cried, came the birth of a legend. But we did not sleep. We did not rest. With knowledge gained and lessons learned, a legend was born to search and destroy. Respect the beast, but don't wake the monster.
at Ace Hardware in Everett and Lake Stevens, we'll help you find what you're looking for and offer friendly advice too. Owners Greg and Christine are all about serving their customers and their community. They support local high school sports and many other community organizations and events. So the next time you need help with your to-do list or project around the house, bring it to Ace. They'll greet you at the door and help you find whatever you need fast. Show your support for locally owned businesses. Shop Ace Hardware just off Highway 9 in Lake Stevens and Evergreen Way in Everett. Ace is the place for the helpful hardware folks.
Every year, thousands of groups depend on Adrenaline Fundraising to help reach their financial goals. Adrenaline Fundraising is about developing leaders through commitment, work ethic, and follow-through. Adrenaline has several products including gold cards, coupon books, cookie dough, donation programs, and many other options to help teams raise the funds needed for their programs. Adrenaline's new app called UpPay will help teams raise money while providing their supporters the ability to earn cash back on everyday purchases at places like Starbucks, Nike, Red Robin, and over 200 plus national retailers. Adrenaline Fundraising is this season's sponsor of the STSPN's Play of the Game Award.
And welcome back to Glacier Peak High School at halftime, where the Glacier Peak Grizzlies have a 33-25 lead here as we wind down halftime. Tom Lafferty along with Alex Clausius. Todd Elvig at the controls at STSPN.com. Tom Friel, our statistician, and Alex, he's added up some stats for you.
I was about to say, he handled the numbers. Good for him, because I couldn't have done this. For the Mount Vernon Bulldogs in that first half, they went 10 of 21 from the field for 48%, 4 of 5 from three-point range for 80%, and 1 of 2 from the free throw line for 50%, so a well-shooting half for the Mount Vernon Bulldogs. Leading the way for them was Sammy Oliver with 9 points, 3 three-pointers. Right behind him, Kane Kress with 7, Isaiah Brown with 4, Chase Calvin with 4, and then Scotty Forbes with 1 point. For the Glacier Peak Grizzlies, they went 11 of 20 from the field for 55%, 3 of 6 from behind the arc for 50%, and 8 of 11 for 73%. You got to hit your free throws, Tom, and that's kind of the difference right here in this score. For Glacier Peak, they're led by Fletcher Douglas with 10 points, Evan Manis with 8 points, Marshall Ross behind him with 7, Noah Foreman with 6, and Braden Quantrill with 2 points, so a very even attack for the Glacier Peak Grizzlies.
Well, and the difference is the free throws, as Glacier Peak hit 8 free throws. Mount Vernon hit 1 free throw. They only took 2.
Exactly. Mount Vernon, you got to get to the line a little bit more, but they're doing a great. They're shooting 4 of 5 from 3 and 10 10 of 21 from the field. So they're getting really good percentages and some couple of good looks, but they got to stop Glacier Peak from shooting 55%.
So here we go. Second half just about to get underway. The officials again tonight are Tony Churlin with the basketball on the far side there. Leo Tini and Kevin Erickson are the umpires, and we're ready to go. We want to also thank, Steve Hawley. We got to thank him. He's giving us our great floor shots, too.
Great angles. It's all about angles, Tom.
It's about angles, and he's down there angling for good shots on the floor. And here we go. Second half gets underway at GP tonight. And the Grizzlies will move to our left here with the white uniforms here in the second half. As they dump it down to Manis, who turns and puts it up, and a little too easy for Glacier Peak that time.
Yeah, they attacked Ethan Chapin right there with the 3 fouls from that first half, and Evan Manis just took his lunch money.
Now Bulldogs with it. Isaiah Brown bounces it. As they get it, top of the key, Chapin looking underneath, and it's going to be taken away. Grabbed by Cedric Jones, lay in good, and one. And one. There's Chapin had his pocket picked. He had his lunch money stolen back.
Exactly. He's not eating for a few days. But he kept his hands up there. He gave him a little too much of the hip, and Cedric Jones finished right there. Great body control to go for the N1.
6'4" senior at the line. That's going to be the 4th personal foul on Ethan Chapin. And he's going to have to check out here. He's got the ball now, knowing that his next destination is down on the padded bench. Chapin puts it up. It won't go yet because he's going to have to be at the free throw line. And this is going to be on Braden Quantrill. His 3rd personal foul, first team foul of the second half, and Chapin at the line for the Bulldogs.
Does he make one and then miss it so he can still play a little bit more? Does he make both? Strategery.
Well, made the first one. The lead is 11 points. Glacier Peak got as much as a 15-point lead in that first half. It was 8 at the quarter. Mount Vernon, after 4 lead changes, had as much as a 1-point lead. Next one, despite being wolfed at by the Glacier Peak faithful on the far side. I guess that's for Bulldogs.
I like it. Bring the enthusiasm. Love seeing the students out here.
Braden Quantrill brings it up for Glacier Peak. He just blows by the defender and lays it up and in. Wow. He just said, see ya. See ya. Thanks for being here, Liam, sophomore. But a turnover on the other end, too. And now Roger Valentine wants to talk about it for Mount Vernon. We'll step aside. 6:52 to go, third quarter. 39-27, the lead for Glacier Peak. Back with more after this timeout.
When you shop at Ace Hardware in Everett and Lake Stevens, we'll help you find what you're looking for and offer friendly advice, too. Owners Greg and Christine are all about serving their customers and their community. They support local high school sports and many other community organizations and events. So the next time you need help with your to-do list or project around the house, bring it to Ace. They'll greet you at the door and help you find whatever you need fast. Show your support for locally owned businesses. Shop Ace Hardware just off Highway 9 in Lake Stevens and Everett Greenway in Everett. Ace is the place for the helpful hardware folks.
Here we go. Glacier Peak with the basketball after the timeout called by Mount Vernon. Braden Quantrill brings it up for the Grizzlies. Dribbling in. They can afford to take some time here. That's Manis. I'm not sure what he was doing. He was going to go to the rack, and then the ball was stripped away. We're going to have a jump ball called, and the possession arrow will favor Mount Vernon.
Evan Manis sometimes, he goes straight from basketball mode to football mode, especially on those loose balls or just any sort of physical contact, and that's just the carryover between each of those two sports.
The other night, doing a radio game with John Brockman, former Snohomish Panther and Washington Husky and NBA player, John want ball. That's all he said. John, I think it's Evan want ball.
Exactly.
And I'll go through anybody to get it. Foreman picks up the foul, his second personal, and it's the third team foul. Excuse me, second team foul. So inbounds here for Mount Vernon. Boy, that would have been a big three, but they couldn't hit it. It's a miss by Brown. And a foul in back court. Insult to injury here. And that's going to be Brown who picks up the foul as well. So we got the miss. It's like a Gordie Howe hat trick. All he needs is a turnover. A miss, a foul, and a turnover.
Yeah, the big
Gordie
three
Howe
right
hat trick.
there.
Yeah. So that's Jones with it. The lead is 12 points, 39-27. Mount Vernon's there, but they just have to not turn the ball over every time down, and that'll help. Here's a steal. Grabbed by Brown. No, it's not Brown. It's going to be Scotty Forbes, and count it. And Forbes is called for his 4th personal foul, the offensive foul.
Man, he went to the bench, untucked his shirt, was about to take a seat, and coach says, "Oh no, you're back in over there.
Yeah,
run
he's
over
gonna
there."
play with 4. Yeah, he
Second half
untucked his shirt, and I don't think the official saw it because that would have been a something. They don't like that. You untuck your shirt on the floor. Foreman with it, back to the basket. To Corwin, looks for a hook pass out to Manis. He protects the ball. It was last touch there by the Bulldogs, Scotty Forbes. And so Glacier Peak keeps it in front court with 21 on the shot clock. Lead stays at 12. As boy, Jones looked at it. He'll dump it in a little closer to Foreman. Back over for an open 3 look that rattles off, no good by Ross.
That was a great looking shot too.
Would not go. Brown brings it up. Dribbles through the defenders and then comes up short. Foreman goes to the deck. No call. Ball went out of bounds.
I thought that was more of a block personally. I don't think he was there in time, but of course, hey, they'll get the ball right back, so maybe they just don't get a couple of free throws.
27 on the shot clock on the inbounds here. And we'll have a foul overplay on the defense, so they got it in to Liam Johnston. And he gets fouled by Braden Corwin, picks up the foul. Second personal foul and team foul number 3. So Mount Vernon out of bounds with a fresh 35 on the shot clock. Down by a dozen. They could stand the basket here. Will they get it? With that corner 3? No. Hit the top of the backboard. That corner 3 no good by Isaiah Brown. Went over the top of the backboard, so that's out of bounds. So no bucket there. They've only scored 2 points in the quarter, Mount Vernon. 6 so far for Glacier Peak.
Looks like they're trying to speed up Glacier Peak a little bit with that press, trying to get them a little bit more mistakes, turnover prone.
Corwin for Glacier Peak. The Grizzlies on their home floor, moving to our left here in the second half in the white jerseys. Jones, Manis, lost the handle. There he is. Dive for Evan want ball. He dives for it. Ball went out of bounds. And it'll be last touched by Mount Vernon, so Glacier Peak keeps it with 11 on the shot clock. Fletcher Douglas returns for Glacier Peak. It's Corwin will throw it in. Manis just slices right through there.
Man,
what athleticism.
Yeah, athleticism, and with the left hand too. And he said, yeah, this ball's going in if I have to make it go in myself.
And he did. And the lead is 41-27, 14-point lead. Foul line jumper, that's Manis with the block. He blocked it on Scotty Forbes, and it goes right back to Glacier Peak. And he traveled the basketball. Fletcher Douglas got it. Kind of looks third turnover this quarter on the Grizzlies. And Hunter's just scratching his head.
It feels like Glacier Peak should be up a little bit more than the 14 points with Mount Vernon not scoring, but they have had a couple of turnovers themselves. But if you really want to cement this game, you got to make sure you hit some couple of shots and get some looks at the hoop.
Hand check foul here on Fletcher Douglas. His first personal foul and the 4th team foul on the Grizzlies, so still out of bounds for Mount Vernon. Isaiah Brown will throw it in. And then dribbling around and just kind of flings it up there. It's going to be a miss there by Scotty Forbes, grabbed by Manis, but stolen right back. Back the other way we go. Liam Johnston with it. Liam Johnston, the 6'1 sophomore. Very young team, this Mount Vernon ball club. Isaiah Brown to the baseline, lost the defender and pops one in from 13 feet away at the right baseline. And we're going to have a timeout called here by Mount Vernon.
Great elevation on the shot. One of those things I can always see a natural scorer. The way they go up for their jump shot, it feels like they're almost like fluttering up there and like floating with it. And a great swish on the back half of that too as well. So hopefully he can get going, Isaiah Brown, here in the next quarter or so, because Mount Vernon truly does need it.
It's a full timeout. We'll step aside. 41-29 the lead. We'll be back with more right after this.
McDaniel's Do It Center is located in beautiful Snohomish, Washington. Locally owned and operated for over 40 years, they are proud to provide the Snohomish Valley with exceptional hardware, tools, lawn and garden, and sporting goods products. Their commitment to delivering legendary customer service and their outstanding employees continue to make McDaniel's the best and one of the most recognized Do It Best centers in the nation. Stop by and experience for yourself the difference between McDaniel's and the big box stores. Discover why so many people are choosing to shop at McDaniel's.
We are all frustrated with the high cost of heating and cooling our homes. At GNS, we are completely changing the way you keep your home comfortable. Because we are Snohomish County's premier Lennox dealer, we can design a perfect system for you, one that will save you a lot of money on your utility bill. The Lennox Home.
Welcome back, and Alex, you can increase your lead if you hit more shots than the other team.
Exactly.
Write that down if you want.
Oh, okay, yeah. Let me grab my pencil really quick. I know Glacier Peak 4 of 5 from the field, Mount Vernon 1 of 5 from the field. And you can't score 2 points in a quarter. We went over that in the second. And trust me, if you do it for 2 quarters, it's not going to be so good.
Fletcher Douglas with it for Glacier Peak. They have the basketball and the lead, and an increased lead with Evan Manis putting it up and in, 43-29. He's got 6 in the quarter, and that's 14 for the ball game. Evan Manis with the leading score, 43-29. Lead is 14. Glacier Peak's led by as much as 15 points in the ball game. Was going to be a foul line jumper, I think, but then Sammy Oliver had it knocked right away from him, and then taking the ball away as Corwin brings it down. Corwin has himself, and then he dumps it over to Fletcher Douglas, missed the lay-in. Back the other way we go. Mount Vernon with it. They'll try the same thing on the other end. No, didn't even put it off the glass, just floated one in. Chase Calvin with it. And now double foul. We saw one about a week ago or actually a Monday night in the Snohomish Archbishop Murphy game. There was one last night in the Husky-Utah game, and Leotini sees a double foul. I don't usually see 3 double fouls in a decade, and we've seen 3 within the week.
But I think that is number 5
it is.
On number 4, Scotty Forbes, too, as well. Him and Manis have been kind of going at it all night, and Manis definitely winning that battle with, I think, over 14 points or even 16 points.
And Evan is pleading his case down there with Coach Brian Hunter. Yeah, that's too bad that he's going to foul out on a double foul, but Forbes will sit with 5 fouls now. He fouls out after the double foul. So from the point of interruption, it'll be out of bounds for a Glacier Peak. And a steal, ball goes up. No, out of bounds for Mount Vernon, excuse me. They missed it anyway. Corwin brings it up.
I've never seen a coach look down the bench so fast just to get a guy out there on that inbound pass.
Going in. There it is. Evan Manis got 16 points in the ball game. Am I right? 16? Yep. 8 this quarter. 4 for 4 from the field. That'll work.
Yeah, that sounds good.
So that's your high school's career.
Oh, man, I don't know.
Jace Calvin.
That's a high field goal percentage.
So is that right there. Fletcher Douglas with a beautiful baseline pass, just a laser beam. Got it for the bucket, and the lead is out to 16 points. Glacier Peak's biggest lead of the game.
And Fletcher Douglas with 12 points right there. I always like a quiet scorer. One of those guys, they're going to finish the layups in transition before you know they have 14 points or even making a nice jumper right or a layup right there. So one of those things to always kind of look out for. I always enjoy seeing that.
Evan Manis always working. Now they feed it forward. Foreman laying good. Noah Foreman, the 6'4 senior, puts it in after the steal. He's got 8 points in the ball game. 49-31. The lead is now 18 points for Glacier Peak. Minute 22 to go, third quarter. Outside shot, that won't go. Chapin let go of it, and already he just knew. He just kind of, it was partially tipped. Oh, he thought he put up an air ball, but it was tipped. They were already running down to the other end.
But most importantly, he doesn't get yelled airball at by the student section over there. So he can go, oh, no, it was tipped, guys, it was tipped. So he doesn't have to listen to that for the next, I don't know, minute and 16 seconds.
I think the student section is looking at their phones over there.
Yeah, Snapchatting, all that kind of stuff, and Insta-tweeting. Those kids those days.
Underneath. No, it won't go. Missed by Calvin. And it'll be GP ball with 1:05 to play in the third quarter. Manis with his back to the basket. He'll go around the defender, hammered to the floor. There were two guys there. If it's Chapin, I think he'll be done. Ethan Chapin. Yep, he's done. He will pick up the foul, his 5th personal, 5th team foul. He goes to the bench, so 2 Bulldogs have fouled out. Roger Valentine having a chat with Kevin Erickson here. I'm not.
2 words. One's a book. It's a game of charades up here for us. Movie.
So Spencer Dutton will check in for him. Chapin, the 6'4" sophomore. It's nothing but sophomores. There's not a senior on the club for Mount Vernon. Watch out for the Bulldogs.
And with with that young of a team, Tom, these moments when you're down almost 20 points in the third quarter to Glacier Peak, a powerhouse here in the West Coast Conference, it's those make or break moments and really help you develop going into even to next or even later this season.
Manis at the line, first one good, second one airborne, and it is not. He's got 17 points in the game, and the lead is 19 points for the Grizzlies. And they'll answer with a 3 on the other end. Liam Johnston puts it in with a 3 ball. 50-34 the score.
Getting some extended minutes with the 2 foul outs right there for Mr. Johnston. And also, I love it, played in the JV game about, 45 minutes, hour ago. So always love seeing the JV guys come up to varsity making an impact.
Noah Foreman, then to Manis, 15 to shoot. Evan Manis up fakes, gets the defender off his feet, and then misses the shot. Rebound controlled by Mount Vernon. Bulldogs with it. Isaiah Brown now the corner, 3 comes off the side, no good by Dutton, and a foul called on the rebound.
That would have been a heck of a hockey assist right there for Isaiah Brown with the over-the-head pass kicked out to another guy for a 3, but just a playmaker out there for Brown. Hopefully he can get some more in the scoring column because he looks like a nice sophomore.
Johnston picks up the foul, his first, 6th team foul on the Bulldogs. 8.5 seconds to go. They'll roll the ball in. Quantrill down to 5, down to 4. Still Quantrill goes around a screen. Down to 2, down to 1. Somebody getting his way. They didn't. And he laid it up and in. Kind of slalomed his way down there and lays it up and in. And the lead is 52-34, 18 points. The lead for the Glacier Peak Grizzlies. Back with a 4th and final quarter from Glacier Peak High School right here on STSPN.com.
Did you know that Speedway Chevrolet is part of the Lee Johnson Auto family? That means 84 years of serving you the LJ way. Need a truck? We have the perfect truck to fit your needs. Half tons, 1 ton, 2-wheel drives, and 4-wheel drives. Our finance specialists are here to help you, whether you have good credit or bad credit. We're just off Highway 522 at West Main Street in Monroe.
Lee Johnson Auto Family, the LJ way.
McDaniel's Do It Center is located in beautiful Snohomish, Washington. Locally owned and operated for over 40 years, they are proud to provide the Snohomish Valley with exceptional hardware, tools, lawn and garden, and sporting goods products. Their commitment to delivering legendary customer service and their outstanding employees continue to make McDaniel's the best and one of the most recognized Do It Best centers in the nation.
We're ready to go. 4th quarter, 52-34. Tom Lafferty with Alex Clausius. Tom Friel on the stats. STSPN's Todd Elvig at the controls here. Sarah's here too. She's excited about being here. Moving the camera up and down the floor. And here we go. 4th quarter underway. The starters probably go a little while here in this 4th quarter. And it will be Fletcher Douglas going in, off the window and in. And that equals opens up now the biggest lead of the ball game. He's got 14 points, does Fletcher Douglas, and the lead is 20. as we start the fourth quarter. Kind of dribbling into trouble there. Johnson or Brown with it, air ball. There's your air ball chant from the crowd on the far side.
I was hoping ref was going to get another tip call in there. Save Mr. Brown.
We have a timeout on the floor called here by Mount Vernon, and we will keep it right here. And to tell you that the Mount Vernon Bulldogs playing Glacier Peak tonight. They're home next Wednesday against Kamiak. And then a week from tonight at Lake Stevens. Actually, at Lake Stevens on Friday, the following Wednesday, the 23rd, at Monroe. So a couple of road trips. Of course, everything from Mount Vernon in the Western Conference is a road trip.
Yeah, have to go all the way down here. One thing I noticed, Tom, is too as well, Mount Vernon, they played Lake Stevens, they played Kamiak early. They haven't really got to that meat of the West Cove, that Jackson and that Glacier Peak. So I think this is really a true test of how good Glacier Peak is to separate that gap between how good's number 2 and how good is number 3 in a Mount Vernon team. It's a 20-point, that's how much better than you are. So it's pretty surprising to see. So hopefully Mount Vernon can make a couple of these games against the upper division, the upper echelon count.
Yeah, during the Christmas break, Mount Vernon had won 5 games in a row with wins over Kamiak, Lake Stevens, Monroe, Cascade, and Oak Harbor. Oak Harbor during Christmas break.
Yeah, exactly. And those teams are the 4 teams that are below them in the West Coast standings. There's only 9 teams, but it's one of those things just to look at to see how you're going to play against the best teams.
Kevin Erickson having a chat with Brian Hunter here. Not sure what the holdup is. We'll say Glacier Peak lost 3 games in a row. Over Christmas, they lost to Linden Christian, or as John Rasmussen, the head girls coach at Edmonds Woodway, said, the University of Linden Christian, boys and girls.
Exactly. They know what they're doing.
The whole town.
There. The whole town knows, for sure.
And they lost also to De La Salle, Oregon over Christmas, a breakup. Mount Vernon only has 4 players out there. They've lost 2 to fouling out.
I mean, I'll go play. Give me a jersey.
And so maybe, are they out of players? Well, they've got a bunch of youngsters down there.
Looks like they got one kid who was literally in the stands watching the game up here, and he's running down the floor.
So they signed him to an immediate one-day contract.
Hey, a couple more rows up here, Tom. You throw me on a jersey, I could run out there. I could be one of these guys. He's going, oh, man, I just stopped having popcorn. Someone give me a towel.
Yeah. So we put on a uniform, and, boy, running shorthanded.
Some technical free throws, it maybe looks like as well.
Yeah, it's going to have to be a technical foul here. That's something I've not seen. The guy from the stands comes down and dresses to play. At this point, Brian Hunter saying, let's just call it. We're done.
2 JV players to their bench.
Okay, we're adding.
Unfortunately, since they were not on the roster to start the game, that was a technical foul where the Grizzlies just made both free throws.
Okay, so they added 2 players from the JV, got them out of the, like Alex, like you said, from the popcorn line to come on, you're playing.
What? Are you serious?
What, really?
I just got some Skittles.
So here we go. GP with the basketball, up big by 22 points. Manis, Douglas, over to Quantrill at the right side, 12 to shoot. And a blocking foul is going to be called. Got down to 10 to shoot, and then they're going to call the foul.
I'm waiting to see when Coach Hunter maybe pulls some of the starters. I don't know if he's going to do, since we did have sort of a senior day with the last Friday game, if he's going to pull Manis out, one, kind of get a last clap from the crowd and maybe some fans as well. They're going to pull them all out together because these are a couple of the guys, these seniors, Ross, Douglas, or not Corum, but Douglas, Foreman.
Yeah.
These guys have been here forever and really carried that Glacier Peak basketball legacy.
Zachary Corporal Klinger picks up the foul. He's one of the guys that came in. He's wearing number 25. It's the young guys in the crowd that don't understand who we know who Corporal Klinger. You know who Corporal Klinger is?
Is he Star Trek?
No.
Darn it.
No, MASH.
Same
He's
thing.
the guy that from MASH, Corporal Klinger. grandmas and grandpas at home, they're slapping their knee. They think that's the funniest thing ever. So here is Klinger, puts it up too hard, no good. Follow-up, count it, and he got fouled on the way up. Chase Calvin with the bucket, and they're going to call this one on Noah Foreman, his third personal foul, and the 7th team foul. So one shot coming up here, and it is no good. Chase Calvin with a miss. 6:40 to go in the game. The lead is 22 points for Glacier Peak. Jones, Manis, like quadruple team, lost a couple of defenders and then put it up and put it in. He's got 19 points in the ball game.
He is such a force down low.
Here's an and one on the other end. Fletcher Douglas goes to the floor, his second personal foul.
Basket's good. Fouls on Grizzlies, number 20, Fletcher Douglas.
And free throws coming up here for Isaiah Brown.
Number 14, Isaiah Brown.
And he'll try for the three-point play. He does. As one of the players, Chase Calvin fell down, and Noah Foreman just helped him up. Said, I don't know why I fell down. I just did. So I'll help you up.
Sportsmanship. It's never forgotten.
It's how you play the game.
Exactly.
As the WIAA would say. As opposed to sportsmanship, it's what's for dinner. That's a whole different ad campaign.
Is that kind of a Corporal Klinger thing again?
Yeah, that's right. Outside shot by Manis won't go. And good idea there for Isaiah Brown with the bounce pass underneath. But he said, nah, you weren't there. And I thought you would be, and you weren't.
Got a little too fancy right there with the no-look pass. He had him wide open on a nice cut to the rim. So slow it down a little bit. Let's get the points first before we go for the showmanship.
60-39 to score. Coming up on 5.5 to play in the game. Quantrill goes in, has the ball stripped away from him. Now quickly up the floor. Klinger. They almost lost the handle on it there. Liam Johnston. Johnston will get it back. 22 to shoot. Goes the round, Quantrill. Now he turns and faces, puts it up, won't go. Manis kept it alive. Up the floor it goes. Here's Douglas to the rack, no. And the rebound, controlled by Mount Vernon, grabbed by Calvin. To Johnson, check it to Brown out of backcourt. He backs his way down, backs his way to the ground. But they're going to call Fletcher Douglas. Boy, I don't know. Well, he was moving.
He was moving a little bit, but also I think with his foot being out there, kind of tripped over. It's one of those things. Well, the reason I went down is because I tripped over your foot. Maybe block wouldn't be the best way to call it, but he still impeded the progress towards the hoop or to get away.
Third personal. It's 1-1 now. Both teams now in the bonus. And Brown at the line for Mount Vernon. Next free throw, hit one, missed one. It's 60-40. Like my eyesight.
Ooh, nice.
Braden Quantrill. They're going to call the foul. In fact, Max Klinger says, yeah, I did. So checking in now for, we have now Jira Padranos checking in, number 20.
Good thing we got the double JV and varsity roster, though.
Padranos checks in. And Quantrill will be at the line. Missed 61-40, so he had hit one, missed one. His 11th point of the ball game. Brown tried to, I think he was going to bounce it off of Jones and send it out of bounds, and Evan Mattis just picked it off and says, I'll take it. I'll take it from here. Quantrill to Mattis, over to Ross. Down low, Foreman misses. And Klinger grabs the rebound for the Bulldogs. Out of backcourt they come. Foul line jumper, front of the iron, no good. Chase Calvin with the miss. We're at 4 minutes to play in the basketball game.
Even with that miss right there, I'm a big fan of Chase Calvin's game as a rebounder, as just like a stout presence in the middle. Him and Isaiah Brown, both sophomores. We've said it before, but that's a really solid nucleus, even 2 years from now, mixed with all the juniors of this year. So very intriguing team up north.
Miss there by Jones. We are in the 1-and-1. The foul had been called underneath off the miss. We're going to march to the other end. The foul is going to be called here on Braden Quantrill. His 4th personal foul.
Checking in for the Bulldogs, number 23, Sammy Oliver.
Sammy Oliver checks in for the Bulldogs. Tucker Molina back in for Glacier Peak. First free throw good. 3:43 to go. Lead is 20 for GP.
Got a rebound down there. Was eating Skittles earlier. Now he hit 2 free throws. That's your trifecta, not the foul, turnover.
Have a timeout on the floor. 3:43 to go in the game. 61-42. Back with more after this.
You know that test drive I've been trying to get to? You're not going to believe this, but Raritan's of Monroe just delivered it to my work. I gotta go.
Too busy to schedule a test drive? Raritan's of Monroe will bring the test drive to you. It's part of our new concierge service.
Evan Manis with 19 points. Now, not all of the districts have reported yet, but he's leading the way for player of the game. Have you voted? Alex, not voted yet?
I'm going to go
absentee?
The absentee ballot. I'm the writing candidate. I don't know who this gentleman official down here is, but he just did the JV game, and now he's doing the varsity game. He's going back-to-back.
All these guys did.
Exactly. I love it. Maybe these players are the refs of the games.
The referees of the game. We don't have enough shirts.
Yeah. They'd have to have stripes on them, too.
That's right. Manis with it. I think he's probably going to be the guy we'll talk to.
Very evenly balanced, though, for the Glacier Peak Bulldogs. Manis, but Quantrill's chipped in. Fletcher Douglas chipped in. Foreman, Braden Corwin's chipped in as well. So
foul called, and they'll whistle this one on Cedric Jones Jr., his 2nd personal foul. And both teams now into the double bonus. And Jira Padronos will go to the free throw line. And he was another guy that was, I think he was drinking Dr. Pepper, as a matter of fact.
Out of the can.
Yeah. Or no, blue Gatorade.
Ooh. I thought you were going to say Pepsi Blue. And I was like, oh, man, Tom.
No. Nobody drinks Pepsi Blue. Next free throw good. 61-43.
But I love the bench getting up and clapping for him, getting in the scoring column, too. Going to be in the paper the next day for a JV guy that was just sitting up there a couple rows up from the real bench.
That's Manis, Molina. Foreman goes around the defender and puts it in. Back to a 20-point lead. Just under 3 minutes now to play in the game. Padronos to Corwin. No, check it. To Oliver. Ball went out of bounds. Last touch by Mount Vernon. The second half has been, Bob Blackburn was my all-time favorite. He was a Sonic announcer from way back when, from the beginning.
Yep.
He had an expression. They still use it. Garbage time.
It is a little bit of a garbage time aspect. But high school garbage time is a lot different than maybe they're all the same thing, but getting the players that maybe they put in the time and effort into the practice stuff, it's always great to have them have a couple of minutes out there to get on the floor, go straight from watching the game to playing it, and we'll take the 2 technical free throws so you can get a couple of minutes.
You kids out there, ask your grandma and grandpa about the Sonics. So another foul here, and Johnston picks up the foul, his 2nd personal foul. Both teams in the double bonus. Noah Foreman at the line for Glacier Peak. Now we're going to see some action off the bench as Cody Wendlandt will check in at the after this free throw. He's going in, I think, for Foreman, since he's already still there. It's no good. Brown with it. Open three look, won't go. A miss there for Liam Johnston. Molina on the other end. The bucket is good. And a timeout called here by Brian Hunter. And they'll take the timeout. So Glacier Peak coming up, as we mentioned. Mount Vernon tonight, we hadn't mentioned them. They're home again next Wednesday against Cascade. And then Glacier Peak next Friday, a week from tonight, against Monroe. So really they have, if you're going to say it, Cascade, Monroe, Lake Stevens, kind of the three lower teams, lower level teams.
The stretch that Mount Vernon always just kind of did a couple weeks ago over the Christmas break, but I'm just looking for one game, the home game, Wednesday, January 30th against Jackson, where these, that trying to get back for, well, Glacier Peak had a comeback in that last game when they were down pretty big at, I think it was the end of the third quarter. So see if that momentum carries over here and ultimately playing on your home floor against a big rival who's the #1 seed or in the conference. We hope at the time for a really potential great matchup.
And that Glacier Peak Jackson game you can see here on STSPN.com, and you can hear it on KRKO, Everett's Greatest Hits, Sports and More. Under 2 minutes now to play. Long outside shot, Brown, no. Quantrill grabs the rebound. So kind of a mixture of starters and bench players. Wendlandt will put up a three. That is Cody Wendlandt. Brings him off the bench. And now we're really going to have the clearing of the bench for Glacier Peak. And so
both coaches are really using those timeouts, getting players on the floor, which is great. And also Coach Valentine over here, you're really using this as a teaching moment, which whether it's fourth quarter and 52 seconds left or whatever it is, there's always something you could teach in basketball.
Let's take a break and we'll come back with the final segment of this game. 69-43.
Every year, thousands of groups depend on Adrenaline Fundraising to help reach their financial goals. Adrenaline Fundraising is about developing leaders through commitment, work ethic, and follow through. Adrenaline has several products including gold cards, coupon books, cookie dough, donation programs, and many other options to help teams raise the funds needed for their programs. Adrenaline's new app called UpPay will help teams raise money while providing their supporters the ability to earn cash back on everyday purchases at places like Starbucks, Nike, Red Robin, and over 200 plus national retailers. Adrenaline Fundraising is this season's sponsor of the STSPN's Play of the Game Award.
Final few moments of this ball game. Glacier Peak with the big lead. It was 17-14 at the end of one, 33-25 Grizzlies at the end of two, end of three, 52-34, and it's 69-43 now. Minute and a half to play in the game. Zach Klinger on the dribble. As we mentioned, a very young Mount Vernon team. They will get better. So they're fairly firmly into the top five would make the playoffs, but nothing's set in stone here as we head through the second time through. Here's Quantrill with the steal.
I wanted Wendlandt to shoot that right there and bring down the house.
They're going to look for him. In the corner, Willie finds a screen. No. They'll swing it around. Also in there for Glacier Peak is Pierce Darlington. The shot outside. Wendlandt would not go. Back up, and it goes. Pierce Darlington. Great racetrack. The track too tough to tame. Darlington.
It's great to see some of these guys that played in the JV game getting in for Glacier Peak. Something I told you a little bit earlier there, Tom. It's so rare to see so many juniors on JV. I think it just gets to Coach Hunter's program and the presence of, hey, you're going to get your shot, but you're going to be a senior because we already got a great team that's been to the Tacoma Dome, and it's just a great overall program.
23 to shoot, 29 on the game clock. As they work it down, little turnaround, a jumper up and in. Good for Oliver. Sammy Oliver with it. Down to final 14 seconds. Out of backcourt comes Tristan Bates. I think we've gotten everybody mentioned. Quantrill. And that will be that. And then the final score will be Glacier Peak 71 and Mount Vernon 45. We'll talk with Evan Manis when we come back. Again, the final score, 71-45. Glacier Peak Grizzlies over the Mount Vernon Bulldogs. Back with the final numbers and our player of the game after this time out at STSPN.com.
We are all frustrated with the high cost of heating and cooling our homes. At GNS, we are completely changing the way you keep your home comfortable. Because we are Snohomish County's premier Lennox dealer, we can design a perfect system for you, one that will save you a lot of money on your utility bill. The Lennox Home Comfort System creates the ideal home environment. Enjoy innovation in every season with precise, quietly efficient Lennox heat pumps that keep your life simply perfect. Call GNS Heating, Cooling, and Electric today or visit us at gsheating.com.
And welcome back. We're awaiting the, as Evan Manis is making his way through the adoring crowd here.
Very important person, Mr. Evan Manis.
Yeah. He's our adrenaline player of the game. He's waiting to find a way through as he's being...
It's a game of Frogger up here in the stands.
So Evan's trying to find his way around. He's trying to make a way through the adoring. He's going to make it all the way down there. This is kind of a cross country.
I bet Coach Hunter's going to get mad at us for all this cardio.
And so Evan is here. Evan Manis is here. You didn't know it was going to be a cross country skiing adventure to get up here, did you?
It was an adventure.
Yeah, I can hear him. We can hear him just fine. Congratulations, our player of the game.
Thank you.
It was for us. Was this kind of a weird game, energy-wise, vibe-wise?
Energy was weird. I feel like it was really energetic at some points, and sometimes it felt like it was a really slow game, and like it was kind of off and on. It was weird. Felt weird.
One of those games where you look up at the clock. Really, it's only 6:30 to go. It seems like we've been out here for about an hour, right?
Yeah.
What's it like when guys like Cody Wendland and Pierce Darlington, those guys are checking at the end? What's it like for the team seeing them make those shots?
It's awesome. And feeling that chemistry throughout the whole team, letting everyone get theirs, it's super fun. We're all up for each other. And then, those are the guys that are be coming in maybe down the line. Those are the players that are going to step up when we need them and next season, stuff like that. So it's really awesome to see them doing good.
Can we go back and talk about bad news the other night against Jackson? But the good news, right, out of that, you were down big, and you came back, only lost by 4. Talk about the energy in that game.
We keep starting slow, and we got to stop that. And I think that's a big part to our losses so far. We come out slow, and we keep climbing and fighting back, and we just can't get there sometimes. And I think that's where a lot of our losses are coming from.
One of my favorite questions to ask since we've seen you on the gridiron for the last, it feels like 15 years. What's that transition like from football to basketball? I always like asking that because it's so much different of a sport. So what's it like for you guys?
I got to take a lot from football and try to apply it to the court, that aggressiveness, just because it's basketball doesn't mean you can't be physical. So, get out there, hit hard screens, stuff like that. Really keep the energy up and be there for the guys.
Got it.
So talk about a couple of your other teammates, couple of the guys. Who are your go-to guys?
Go-to guys, I feel like, Q stepped up big time this year. I think Braden Quantrill, he's just killing it, going down there a small point guard, and he's working like a post out there,
Right.
And I think it's awesome seeing him do stuff like that. And then having Marshall coming in last game, hitting so many threes, like 50, I think he had 14 points in the first quarter or something like that. And I think they're awesome.
Well, good. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming up here. Our player of the game, that is Evan Manis of Glacier Peak. We're going to get a picture of him. He'll get his shirt as well. Let's take a look at some of the final numbers and the leading scores here in the ball game, as we will have a chance to do that. So Evan Manis, we mentioned, we had eight points for Chase Calvin for Mount Vernon. I kind of threw Tom Friel under the bus here with the numbers, but we'll have those, so no problem there. Again, Alex, final comment on this game.
It was just a big I've said it, I mentioned it right around that third quarter. I think Glacier Peak really cemented themselves as, hey, you are that #2 team in the Westco Conference, and it just makes that date against Jackson on the 30th that much bigger. It's going to be one of those games that's like, it's going to be intense. It's going to be a rivalry with the Jackson Glacier Peak, just right down the street sort of vibe. It's going to be a game that you're going to drop the kids off at grandma's house and get the popcorn ready, and you're going to stop on by here. If not, listen on KRKA or watch on STSPN.
Well, thanks to Todd Elvig and Sarah from STSPN.com. Thanks to Tom Friel, our statistician tonight. For Alex Glossius, I'm Tom Lafferty, reminding you of tonight's final score. The Glacier Peak Grizzlies 71, the Mount Vernon Bulldogs 45. On STSPN.com. Good night, everybody.